I'd like to welcome everybody to the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee meeting for Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. And we'd like to start by asking everyone to stand and do our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, per our bylaws, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Powers for our organizational meeting.
Thank you very much. I'm Jeremy Powers. I am the school board attorney. And for these purposes today, good afternoon. During the September 26, 2023 Marion County School Board meeting, the school board approved updated bylaws for this board committee, a copy of which has been provided to you. It's my role to share with you a few of the items that have changed from previous ICROC bylaws. Terms of membership are now 2-year terms with an option for reappointment for the remaining 2 years of the term for this 4-year referendum. We now have language to assist as to when this initial meeting is to occur, as well as that the school board attorney and school board chair assist in the first meeting. Excuse me. The duties and responsibilities of the ICROC chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary, which you are voting on in just a moment. The bylaws now require 4 meetings a year, but do not specify that those meetings have to be exactly on a quarter basis. We have found that some meeting times have been less attended than others, so the school board did not want to force this committee into a quarter structure. Additionally, one of the ICROC chair's responsibilities will be to create and to provide an annual report of this committee's work to the school board. Are there any questions about any of these bylaws before proceeding into elections for officers?
Nope.
Okay. At this time, then, we'll begin with opening the floor for nominations for chair of the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee.
I nominate Ken Osley for chair, president again.
I second.
Is that allowed on the bylaws for me to serve
It is.
consecutive terms? Okay. I would be willing to do that.
Wonderful.
Are there any additional nominations? Okay, all in favor of Mr. Osley for chair, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, at this time, we will open the floor for nominations for vice chair of the ICROC.
I would like to nominate Floyd Magwood as vice chair.
Magwood, do you accept?
Yes.
Okay, and do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Are there any additional nominations?
Secretary?
No, I
Oh,
mean
that's
for the vice chair. Okay, all in favor of Mr. Magwood for vice chair, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, at this time, we'll open the floor. It passes unanimously. At this time, we will open the floor for nominations for secretary of the ICROC. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate Diana Williams.
I'll second that.
Ms. Williams, do you accept that nomination? Ms. Williams, having failed to accept that nomination, are there any additional nominations?
Melanie Lester?
I would second that.
And do you accept?
Yes.
Yay. Thank you.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, and just for the record, I would like to make sure that we have, if each of you could identify yourselves by name so we have a attendance record of all who voted today. So starting over here with Ms. Lester, if you could please.
Melanie Leister.
Leister, okay.
Floyd Magwood.
Avi Blocker, Gunter.
Ken Osley.
Jane Moonley.
Diana Williams.
Jennifer Eggers.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will now turn the meeting over to the new chair, same as the old chair, right? And at this time, I will excuse myself and allow you to conduct the remainder of your meeting. Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Powers.
you.
Appreciate it. I'd like to welcome everyone, guests, Superintendent Dr. Diane Gullett, our Board Chair, Lori Conrad, and distinguished guests and district personnel. Thank you for being here. One order of business, if I may. Well, let's do roll call first. So I guess we technically
Kind of did.
kind of did. So we're going to let that stand as our roll call because everyone identified themselves so we know who's here and who's not. So that's done. We have in our packet the minutes from the October meeting. And so if you've had a chance to review those, if there are no additions or deletions, I would entertain a motion to approve those.
So move.
I
Is it-
second that.
There's a second. Any other discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Before we jump into the presentation, one thing really quick. In your packet is, as Mr. Powers mentioned, it is the chair's responsibility to put together a report. So I did it on a year-by-year basis, a 2024 report. It's in here. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it yet, but we need to probably approve that. And if you have any questions about it, I can just give you a brief overview. I just did an introduction of the officers of the board. I looked at what our responsibilities are per the bylaws and just kind of laid those out. I went through our different meetings that we held, our public meetings that we're required by bylaws to hold. In the reporting, I just briefly touched on the superintendent and her team and how they, on a quarterly basis, gave us thorough reporting, both financial reporting and programmatic reporting, and the details of that. I also added that we did ask for additional enhancements instituted by the committee in 2024 was the top expenditures by program and purchase services, material supplies, and capital outlay, and I saw that in our last board minutes was provided. We also were given an opportunity to do school visits to oversee, to look at the programs firsthand, so I documented that. And then my conclusion was that the committee can attest to the Marion County School Board that in 2024, based on the information we reviewed and visits we conducted, the proceeds of the 1 mil ad valorem tax were used for safe schools, reading, physical education, art, music, library, media, vocational programs, class size requirements, and retaining state-certified teachers and paraprofessionals. So if everyone is good with that, I would entertain a motion to approve that. Is that a motion and a second? Any further discussion of that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that was hanging over my head. I'm glad it's done. Actually, the bylaws do require that the board chair give a verbal report to the school board, which I'm willing to do at any point this school year. It's pretty straightforward, but it would be good to report to the board that that the district is doing a really good job of using that 1 mil. So if whenever Chair Conrad, that you would want us to do that, I'd be willing to do that. Thank you. All right, that sounds great. With that, I'll give the floor to Dr. Gullett and the district staff to give us an overview of the last quarter.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. And I apologize. I realized I was sitting up here and I can't really see you. I'm sitting up here all day. So I want to start by just saying thank you again for your service. Thank you for your leadership. Those of you who just accepted that role, for some of you, again. So thank you for that. I know it takes a lot of time. We really appreciate you. I would be remiss if I also didn't say here on behalf of the school district, thank you to the Marion County Board of County Commissioners for allowing us to use the space for even this meeting. They've been very kind to us, and we really appreciate that. And I'll be brief because you've had a lot of business today, and you're going to hear from my team shortly with I think is always a robust update on our spending. But something that really occurred to me the other day when I was personally sitting on a Zoom call, I sit on, one of the boards I sit on in the community is the Appleton Museum of Art, and we were talking about partnerships. We were talking about how we really serve our students as a whole community. And I walked away from that meeting, and what really struck me was this meeting today, this update, that I want you committee members to think about as you hear my team presenting how partnerships are woven into the referendum, how what we do with our staff and our dollars is uniquely supported by our incredibly generous partnerships. So I'm not sure that we've really talked about that before, but I think you'll see that. I could mention several things like fans and FAFO and all that, but I would like for you I wanted to plant a seed and have you think about that as we are providing any updates. And as always, if you have questions, we're here to answer and look forward to any other information you need from us. But that concludes my remarks, and welcome again.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Appreciate you, as Dr. Gullett said, appreciate your time because we know this is volunteered. So I'm excited to be a part of this team. I just have the numbers, but the team here can tell you exactly, what they're doing with those funds. So as you can see, there's about 7 of us that will make a presentation to you today, and we'll get going with that. This is for the cumulative information from July 1 through December 31st, 2024. As you are aware, this is a 1 mil ad valorem tax, and the voters approved it on November 8th. It's effective from July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2027. So we are in our second of 4 years for the referendum. And we've already talked about allowable use of funds, which include reading, physical education, art, music, library, media, vocational, to help us meet class size, retain state certified teachers, paraprofessionals, and school safety. As you can see, the collections through 23-24, they totaled $199 million, and we have spent from the beginning of the program 2015-16 through 23-24, we have spent a total of $187 million. We have budgeted this year revenue of $37.3 million and expenditures totaling $43.1. I did share with you the last quarter, but I'll remind you that our board provided us to do something a little bit different going forward. In the past, we have used our teachers that helped us reduce class size as well as paraprofessionals. And those teachers were moved over into the general fund, but we did move some of the art, music, media teachers that are being paid out of the general fund. We moved them to the referendum. So you will see that slight change. Again, our budget for revenue is $37.3 million. We have received, as of the end of December, $4.2 million. These are tied to the tax proceeds that are paid from November through probably the end of June. So we've received about $4.2 million, and we've spent about 36%, which totals about $15.7 million. For our budgeted expenditures, there are 8 categories, and these are all funds. This includes the charter schools as well as the general fund, total $43.1 million, and you can see the spread of the different programs. That first one that says class size reduction are really the kindergarten paraprofessionals. This slide is just to give you an idea of the categories that were spent since 2017-18. And the last column It's just our expenditures to date. So it's not the full year. It's just from July 1 through December 31st. Our beginning fund balance, which is basically the money that was not spent in the prior year. Beginning fund balance was 11.7 million, and I'm sure you are aware that anything that we do not spend from one year, it is rebudgeted in the next year. So the beginning fund balance is 11.7 million. We have budgeted expectation of revenue with 37.3 million, budgeted expenditures of 43 million, and we're projecting that our ending fund balance for 24-25 will be 5.9 million, or about $6 million.
I have a quick question, if I could.
Yes.
When you said you shifted the teachers to the general fund that we had on there before and replaced them with the art, music, PE, I guess everybody that's teaching in one of these programs here, was it a similar value?
It was probably about $1.5 million difference.
Less or more?
More to the referendum. We were trying to match it 1-to-1, but that was as close as we could get.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. So our first category are the kindergarten paraprofessionals. The budget for the general fund was $6 million, and the number of paraprofessionals that were budgeted were 177. We have 169 actual, and 8 are unfilled positions. They're vacant at the end of December. And again, we've spent to date about 45% of that $6 million budget. So now we'll turn it over to Ms. Cornelius-son to talk about the physical education program.
Before you, does anybody have any questions for Ms. Balsanellis before?
Before we start in the breakdown of this fiscal year that we're currently in, there were some leftover expenditures from the previous fiscal year that you said at our last meeting were still kind of being tallied up. Will we be caught up on those numbers at some point?
We can certainly update the very last report if that would be something that you
great.
would like.
Yes, please.
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll thank you a third time for taking your time to hear all of the great things that we get to witness every day in our county, and especially in physical education. When you look at the slide at the end of this, you're going to see the vast majority of the budget is strictly paying for salaries and benefits. There is a small portion that goes toward funding for equipment. So it's my pleasure to share with you just some of the great things that I get to witness with my colleagues throughout the year. And you will see that on this first one here. In November, we had the elementary physical education soccer jamboree. And that happens, we hold it every year right before the break for Thanksgiving. And this year we had 24 physical educators, and this is an opportunity for them to allow students who might not have the chance to participate in sports. For example, they may live in a more rural area, or they might not have the means to participate in, let's say, a soccer at Big Sun or something. Gives them a chance during the school day, like a field trip, to come out and have a little jamboree with a lot of other elementary schools. So we had 24 physical educators that volunteered to do that with us, which represented 12 schools. Our participating schools were Madison Street, 8th Street, Maplewood, and Ward Highlands were our in-town schools. What I think is pretty impressive is the amount of schools that are our outlying or our more rural schools that made the trip in for the day. And that was Stanton-Wearsdale, Harborview, Reddick Collier, Spar, Marion Oaks, Sunrise, Fessenden, and East Marion. And you may not realize how impactful that is, because these are students who have to travel, some of them over an hour to school on a bus to ride just to school, and then they have to get them all the way in town and then back out there in order for them to transport in the morning and the afternoon. So we crunch it all into like a power session of about 3 hours, but they're able to make that long trip in, and it's a lot of fun. We had over 288 students participating that day in just the 3-hour jamboree. Close to 300 parents were also there in attendance. It was at the Rotary Sportsplex right next to Forest High School. And it was a great day. They volunteer that space for us to use at no cost. It is supported by the FANS program, Dr. Gullett mentioned earlier, Fitness and Nutrition in Schools, that help with things like providing meals for our staff and people that help out. And speaking of people who help out, I'm not sure if you're familiar, Vanguard High School has a future teacher program, and I utilize those students as volunteers anytime I can. They're amazing. So I had 20 student volunteers that participated in that as well and served as referees and gophers and just really made everything run smoothly. And if you've never visited that, or if you have had the opportunity to visit Miss AJ out there, she's amazing and she does some really, really great stuff. Let's see if I push the right button. Also, the storms have made an impact on our schools and our schedules, and they've really taken away from instructional time that we've had to make up. Typically, after Christmas break, we have a couple days, usually a professional learning day and a teacher work day. So this year, we really had to shrink that down in order to make sure that we were meeting all the instructional minutes for our students. So what happened was our elementary students missed out at the beginning of the year from the first hurricane, their professional learning day, and then we had to take it away again and just offer it as an optional or if you want to come kind of thing, because you're really trading out your time to do lesson plans, grades, things like that. And I had over 60 educators attend, which represented, there was at least 1 to 2 from every elementary school that were able to come for a couple of sessions of professional learning. We had a professional trainer come from St. Petersburg and put on this session. We had 3 hours of just in-depth professional learning specifically geared toward physical education, which again, we're very, very grateful we were able to provide that, also supported by FANS. But again, it was optional. It was up to them whether they felt the need to come or not, and many of them chose to fill their professional learning boxes that day, and I appreciated that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so our total budgeted expenditures for physical education were 9.5 million. Again, PE teachers totaled 106, 3 of which are vacant. And then we also have PE techs, and there are 25 that are filled and 2 that are vacant. And they've spent to date about 40% of their budget, which is pretty much in line for spending that begins around August all the way through to December. The majority of that, as Ms. Corneliuson mentioned, is for salary and benefits of those PE teachers as well as the PE technicians. And there are materials and supplies. We allocate about $2 per elementary student at each school. And some of the things that they purchased were just supplies and balls and such, and also some equipment as well. Now we'll go on to the vocational program, and the explanation of the program will be given by Ms. Adi.
Good afternoon. So in CTE, we're fortunate to offer 40 different CTE pathways to students that encompass over 14 different career cluster areas that ranges all the way from health science to engineering. We have over 15,000 students across the district enrolled in these programs. Referendum helps us with some of those teacher units for those programs, but also helps us to keep our equipment and our facilities up to date in all of those programs. A big part of our students' senior year is determining what pathway they're going to follow after high school. The Career Planning Guide is an initiative we started for students that are in grades 8 through 12 that utilizes a career exploration tool called Zello. The Career Planning Guide helps students make decisions about their future and culminates in them selecting an E. On the screen or on your slides there, you can see what our seniors are planning to do so far this year after high school. We've got 60% planning to enroll in some type of school, whether that be technical college, a university, any kind of further education. 22% are planning to go straight into the employment field. 8% are planning to do some kind of small business operation or move into something work for yourself. And 8% of our students are planning to enlist. Whether students are preparing for college or the workforce, our CTE programs are there to help them get on those right pathways. In CTE, we also recently had 4 schools compete in the University of Florida Duke Energy Challenge. I'm excited to share that Marion County teams took both first place and second place at that competition. The up-to-date equipment and software in our engineering and manufacturing programs is really what made them able to do that and prepare for that competition. Now I want to share some of our recent business and industry interactions. These are just things that happened during Q2 only, and it's just a highlight of some of the many things that took place. In November, through a partnership with a career source, we hosted our annual Youth Career Expo. This event takes place at Circle Square Cultural Center and allows 8th graders to interact with business and industry members and explore their high school magnet options. This year, we had 380 students from all 10 of our middle schools attend that event. The picture there on the bottom is a student getting to test out some virtual reality equipment at the event. We also had over 300 business and health science students tour the programs at CF so they could better explore their options, some AS degree programs and some other options they may not have been aware of. We have 2 schools we're really excited. We just started a partnership with the Florida Connect Academy this semester. That academy is designed for students who don't have a concrete plan after high school to explore the field of civil construction. So they'll be learning about civil construction all this last semester of school, and then they'll have the opportunity to be hired in that field upon graduation. Pictured on the top here, you can see some of our robotics, automation, and design students. Last year, they completed a project with UCF and NASA, and pictured here in December, they actually got to present the findings from that project to aerospace professionals, so we were really excited for them to do that. And lastly, I'm excited to share, every one of our CTE programs has an articulation agreement with a local college. And what that means is that students in our programs, when they complete the program, which is considered 3 years of a program, they can qualify for free college credits if they go into that area of study. So we were able to share the information about that with 516 CTE classes in November and December. So we're really excited to spread the word about that and encourage our students to take advantage. The referendum funds help us to provide these experiences and opportunities for students, and we look forward to continuing to make these connections for them in the future.
A quick question on that free college credit, if I could. Is it the high school credits that convert to college credit, or is it when they go to college that they get some free credits, and how many?
So it's different for every program. Basically, we work with the related program at the college to determine what the professors think they should get. So basically, they go through what they learned in high school, and they'll say, okay, basically, you're exempt from this introductory class. We're going to just give you the credit for that. Or if you took an industry certification, that'll take you out of this class. So it's kind of like CLEPing out of a course. They don't get it until they graduate and enroll in the college, but at that point, they can get the credits.
Thank you.
I think what is great about the vocational programs is some of the equipment is fairly expensive. So the referendum helps to defer some of those costs. And you can see in addition to the 20 teachers that are budgeted, there is also different software licensing that is purchased, textbooks, IT accessories, some technical classroom supplies, and then, of course, there's IT equipment, Chromebooks, computers, and monitors and iPads. The total budget for vocational is $2.4 million, and again, it covers costs of vocational programs, including a budget for 20 instructional units. We'll move on now to library media. Ms. Bragan Hughes will present the programs that have occurred under this project.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
In each of our schools, elementary, middle, and high, our media specialists are working hard to meet the needs of the students and teachers on each of our campuses. One of the components of being a library media specialist is being library media certified. To add this certificate, media specialists take a state assessment, and when passed, the certification is added to their teaching certificate. As of December, all of our media specialists are certified, which is a big feat. This is an important component to the success of our schools. In order to follow state requirements, supplemental resources, classroom libraries, as well as library books must go through a review process. The review process must be completed by a person with a valid media specialist certificate. This update is important for the success of all of our school sites. As I shared in our last update, Beanstack is a program that each of our schools use for several purposes, but one of the main features of Beanstack is the review and approval of classroom libraries. Per state statute, classroom libraries must be shared in a searchable format, and Beanstack meets those requirements. Our librarians have reviewed 13,910 titles on Beanstack. With these approvals, students have access to a wide range of books outside of just the campus library. Along with reviewing titles that may exist in a classroom library, our media specialists are also tasked with approving classroom supplemental resources. Supplemental resources are any resource that is not part of district purchased curriculum. Teachers may use supplemental resources to support standards-based instruction, but prior to use, these resources must be vetted and approved by the media specialist, as well as posted on the school-based web pages. This is another component of state statute that our media specialists support every day on their campuses. While many of the components of being a librarian are associated with state laws and requirements, our media centers across the county are also a hub for fun, learning, and building confidence in all of our readers. Media specialists across the county work hard to build and maintain relationships with community members as well as other organizations. In some of the photos here, we have an author visiting Fort McCoy School sharing her love for writing, as well as reading with students in kindergarten through second grade. In some of the other photos, Mr. Scott Mitchell from the Silver River Museum took a special visit to Pheasant Elementary. Ms. Magby, the media specialist at Pheasant Elementary, helped plan and coordinate this special event with Silver River Museum. During his visit, Mr. Scott provided instruction on local Florida history during Native American Heritage Month. This field trip provided students with the opportunity to see, touch, and learn about Native Americans and how they have had a lasting impact on the history here in Ocala. Coming up next week, the annual State Literacy Initiative, Celebrate Literacy Week, will take place. This year's theme for this event, Building Literacy, Constructing the Foundation for Success, is intended to continue to raise awareness about the importance of reading and to inspire Florida students and families to make reading part of their daily routines. Media specialists across the county help to plan, organize, and support reading across each campus every day, with a special highlight throughout the week of January 27th. Library circulation is also a component that our media specialists are proud to discuss and highlight. Recently, I had a conversation with one of our media specialists, and he had a goal to double last year's circulation for his media center by the end of this school year. He was glad to tell me that he has already achieved his goal. He is excited to continue to support reading across his campus. Outside of classroom libraries, Beanstack is also used as a digital reading log. Each quarter, the district has a reading challenge, and our media specialists at each school help promote and monitor student reading. Students are encouraged to log into Beanstack from their student desktops and log their daily reading. The Quarter 2 reading challenge was the Great Escape, highlighting that reading can take you to different places. Students earned 34,621 badges, read 13,015 books, and an astonishing 805,913 minutes were tracked on Beanstack. Quarter 3 reading challenge is bundle up with books. Get comfy and read a good book. What a great time, because it's been quite cold this week. I look forward to tracking student logging throughout quarter 3.
Again, our library media had a $4 million budget, covered the cost of media specialists, and that totals 48. They were all filled, and they've spent to date 41% of their budget. And some of the things outside of salary and benefits, things that they purchased, paper, pens, laminating materials, construction paper, shelves, and student reading materials. Next, we'll discuss the fine arts, visual arts, and Ms. Hutto will provide that presentation, and she'll also move over into music, and I'll come back when she's finished those 2 areas.
Hello again.
Hello.
Thank you guys always as being here and contributing your time to this group. We very much appreciate you. In October, 50 of our schools participated in the 57th annual Ocala Arts Festival sponsored by Fine Arts for Ocala, also known as FAFO. Every year, FAFO hosts a juried student art show for all Marion County schools in grades K to 12. Judges selected 13 awards of merit at the elementary level, 12 of which were from our MCPS schools. At the middle school and high school levels, the judges selected overall winners in a 1st through 5th place, and then they choose a best in show winner for each of those areas. Our students received 3 of the middle school awards, including best in show, and 5 high school awards, including the best in show winner. These students were all recognized at an award ceremony at the Appleton Museum in November. On November 11th, our Marion County schools hosted their annual Veterans Day ceremony at Veterans Memorial Park. Over 1,200 of our MCPS students were in attendance, and we were thankful to have performances from kindergartners from Hammett Bowen Elementary, Reddick Collier Elementary's Mustang Music Club, Forest High School's Canto Cats Choir, and the Forest Viridian Big Band. It's their jazz band. In addition to having these incredible students perform at our county event, we also had schools across the county hosting their own Veterans Day ceremonies and performances to honor those who served our country. If you take a look at the picture in the bottom middle, that is one of our performances at Mose Elementary. And so that's Miss Tanya Kofer, the elementary music teacher there, and she sent me some wonderful pictures of her students participating in their Veterans Day ceremony. And then finally, in the past couple of months, we have had performing arts groups representing Marion County, not just in the county, but also all the way across Florida. 14 of our middle and high school bands performed for over 80,000 members of our community at the Ocala Christmas Parade. In December, Forest High School and Westport High School participated in Epcot's annual Christmas candlelight event, performing for over 1,000 attendees on each night. Westport High School and Horizon Academy participated in their district thespians competition, which was held at East Ridge High School in Claremont. Horizon took home 9 excellent and 5 superior ratings. Westport took home 9 excellent and 13 superior ratings, in addition to having 3 students win highest honors for their categories. Pictured in the center is Elizabeth Connolly from Westport High School. She won a $1,000 scholarship and was chosen to represent our state, to represent our district at state thespians competition in the area of costume design. In the other picture in the top corner, you can see the Gator logo up there. Our Panther Choir from Dr. N.H. Jones sang the national anthem at one of the UF basketball games in December, and Shady Hill Elementary's choir will also be singing the national anthem in February. And then finally, in the bottom right-hand corner, you can also see we held our annual Marion All-County Middle School Band, where 120 students representing 10 of our middle school band programs performed under a guest conductor at the Riley Arts Center. And I know Dr. Gullett mentioned earlier all about partnerships. And so we are incredibly thankful that we have these wonderful arts organizations in this county. We have FAFO, we have the Riley Arts Center, we have the Appleton, and all of those groups are so influential in making our events so successful. And they work with us constantly to make sure that we have all of the, all of the things that we need. And they partner a lot with us in making sure that we can present these types of events and stuff for our students and have those opportunities. So we are so proud of the visual and performing arts programs in Marion County. These programs offer so much to our students, helping to develop their social and emotional and interpersonal skills, enrich their life experiences, improve focus, and bolster academic achievement. And we are incredibly thankful for the community continuing to support the referendum, which allows us to keep offering this level of excellence to the students of MCPS. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very exciting things are happening. I'll go back and we'll talk about the art first. Oh, going the wrong way. Okay, so we'll start with the art. It's 0.5 of the coordinator, and it also covers the cost of 54 art teachers and 12 paraprofessionals in art. The total budget is $4.8 million, and they have spent 41% of their budget. Some examples of the things that are purchased in addition to salary and benefits or paint brushes, markers, travel for the Florida Art Education Association, and then membership in the Florida Art Education Association. Then we'll move on to the music. That budget is $5.2 million, and it covers the cost of 57 music teachers, 0.5 coordinator, and 12 paraprofessionals that support the music class. In addition to salary and benefits, some of the other items that are purchased include Quaver music license, instrument repair, sheet music, fuel for field trips, some instruments and sheet music, as well as other consumables, which include small musical equipment. So it's a lot going on in both of those programs. Next, we'll have Ms. Hazer, who is a program specialist with professional leadership and learning.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So really excited to be here and share all the great things we're doing to help retain and support our early career and novice educators. So this year we have a new program called the New Teacher Academy. We hosted 3 sessions during the first semester. Educators with less than 3 years of experience are invited to register for the course. Each session includes a mini lesson on a specific topic, followed by breakout sessions led by veteran teachers in those participants' subject areas. Registration for the Semester 2 course opened up in December, and we filled all of the slots. So they're showing up and coming, and we are so excited to be able to offer this. On the screen, you can see a shout out from one of our participants. She said, "Because of class on Tuesday, I was able to rock my classroom visit on Wednesday. Your class gave me the enthusiasm I needed to reach the depth of the standard that my principal was looking for. So thank you." And that was an 8th grade ELA teacher. 98% of our participants, based on a survey, were extremely satisfied. The 2% weren't, which was 2 people. I reached out to. We offer an in-person and a virtual session, and needless to say, the virtual session had some hiccups. So once we reached out to them and we worked with them and trained our facilitators and our participants, since then, those hiccups have been fixed. So we are very excited to continue to offer that.
Quick question, was there anyone on the waiting list to take that class, or were you able to accept all the people that wanted to participate?
Our virtual always has a waiting list
We have a waiting list?
for virtual. Our in-person fill slots, we generally, if there's a couple extra, we let them in. But with virtual, Our largest virtual session, I think, was 53 people. And when virtual gets too big, it loses its effectiveness. So we definitely get on our virtual. We do have a wait list, and we always offer them the next first dibs on the next session. The other half of mentor and induction are the people that support, mentor, and work with our early career and novice educators. Mentors receive training on how to conduct effective conversations that enhance capacity and efficacy of our novice educators. Leads participate in workshops where they learn best practices for developing and implementing site-based learning for early career educators. During this time, after we have our meetings, they go back onto their sites and they apply their skills that they've learned working with their novice and early career educators on site. In the first semester, program specialists conducted over 80 site visits. So we've been able to go out and support 80 schools, whether that was through leads, mentors, or working with early career and novice educators. During these visits, we collaborate with novice and early career educators, assist leads in creating plans for site-based professional learning, and we also evaluate the implementation of concepts learned from New Teacher Academy. And we meet with the mentors and the teachers if they request it. Referendum funds that you provide help us support induction and mentoring. The tiered structures we have in place allow us to provide support for teachers within their first 3 years of their educational journey. Our goal is to make sure that every educator feels valued, supported, and equipped to help students succeed. We want to create a smooth transition into the teaching profession, help develop effective teaching techniques, and encourage ongoing professional growth for our early career educators. Most of these funds are paid out towards the end of the fiscal year because they are designated for the mentor and lead mentor supplements. Hours are documented throughout the year through monthly surveys completed by both mentors and novice educators, early career educators, and leads. Leads and mentors receive their supplement payment by June. Teachers that are identified as novice have less than 6 months. Teachers that are identified as early career educators are anybody with 1 year to 3 years experience in the classroom. We currently have 233 teachers who fall into the category of novice educator that are assigned a one-on-one mentor. As positions continue to be filled and numbers and student and teachers get cleared, those numbers tend to increase. Mentors dedicate 30 hours of support, which is approximately 1 hour a week, growing our newest teachers. These supplements, full amount, are $1,100. Lead mentors are selected by school administrators at all school sites to work with early career educators. Early career educators have taught for 2 to 3 years. Leads facilitate monthly meetings for them that provide professional training. They also follow up with them on a weekly basis with one-on-ones just to touch base and provide additional supports. This year, we were really excited to partner with the Fine Arts Department because teachers that work in specialized areas often don't have another teacher on campus that teaches the same thing they do. So they now have their own virtual monthly session in addition to their on-site supports. An expert teacher in that area is able to provide support on that content based on their specialized needs. Our Fine Arts cohort has hosted 2 sessions, and the participants shared out what a huge difference this has made for them in the classroom. So thank you for your continued support of induction and mentoring.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is kind of out of left field. How do we still have permanent subs in positions that are not filled by certified teachers? Is that something that we still have?
Are you referring to what we call a classroom sub? It's a person who is there every day. Yes, we still have those positions.
Okay, I was just curious. Speaking from experience, I've been in positions where I've seen a permanent sub there for the full year. I don't know that that's the case now, but I was just curious how that would fall into being supported by this program if they're committed to being there for a majority of the school year. Is that something that would be offered to them?
At this time, induction and mentoring is offered to teachers that are working on a temporary certificate moving towards a professional.
Okay.
Thank you.
There are some additional programs, and I don't want to speak to them, but there are programs that are encouraging our paraprofessionals to seek their degrees as well. So that does go on.
Okay.
Question I have about that: what budget are they coming out of?
The
Line-
classroom
line.
subs,
Right, like the ones
that's the
that are more
general fund.
permanent.
The
It
general
is the
fund.
general. Okay,
Yes.
I was just curious. Thank you.
During our federal funds, the ESSER funds, those dollars are over. We did charge the classroom subs to that funding source, but now they're back in
Back
the
in the general
general
funds.
fund.
Okay.
Yes. To me. So the professional development, which is typically paid out at the end of the year, they requested $627,000, and of course, they have not spent any to date. As the slide mentions, the new teacher training occurs over the summer break as well, and that's paid out at that time. So now we'll move on to a new category that was implemented in our second or our first renewal for referendum, and that is safe schools. And Mr. Dennis McFadden will discuss that.
Good afternoon, and thank you again for your time and the commitment you have made to volunteer for this committee. As always, we're happy to come before you and share with you what we are doing in our schools. As we approach the second half of this 24-25 fiscal year, we want to highlight and give you some updates on our spending. One of the things that we have here is our School Resource Officer Program. It is not fully funded through the referendum, but it's partially funded. However, what we do with them is a 3-year contract, and that contract is coming to soon to expire, and we are beginning to plan for its renewal. The partnership with our law enforcement agencies is a critical part of maintaining a safe environment on our campuses. As you can see, just like a fence, camera, door buzzers, they're probably the most highest visibility of our security measure that we have. Referendum funds are allocated to partially support the payment for SROs, with additional personnel expected as we prepare for opening of new schools, such as elementary schools W and X, high school CCC, and a new middle school. While these schools may not open for several months or even years, it is important to plan and budget for a seamless transition. Typically, we enter into 3-year agreements with our SRO contracts, and currently we have a total of 63 SRO positions under contract distributed as follows: 41 school resource officers and 1 roamer with the Marion County Sheriff's Office, 20 SROs with the Ocala Police Department, and 1 SRO with the City of Bellevue. In addition, as part of our ongoing efforts to improve school safety, we have implemented the Alyssa's Alert mobile panic alert system in compliance with Florida statutes. This system integrates with local public safety answering points, infrastructure, and ensures real-time coordination among first responder agencies during emergencies. To meet this requirement, we transitioned from the Raptor system to the Centegix wearable badge platform in August of 2024. This transition was further underscored by the tragic shooting incident in Georgia on September 4th, 2024, where a 14-year-old student opened fire, resulting in multiple fatalities and injuries. During the aftermath, we gained valuable insights as a district that reinforced the importance of technologies like the Centegix platform, which was used to notify staff, students, and first responder community of the active shooter event, helping to save lives. Building on this, we upgraded our intercom systems at school sites to enable immediate audible announcements during critical incidents, such as an active assailant event. And so what we had to do is our intercoms, our principals and staff would actually have to physically go, get on the intercom and announce lockdown, lockdown. We had language that we pre-planned for them to use, but with this new system and the way we upgraded and had that, do some upgrading to our intercom system, the intercom system itself now announces the alert. It actually tells them, for example, lockdown, lockdown. This is not a drill. Get to a safe space and initiate Alice protocol. Again, in the past, our staff was responsible for saying that, which put them at a higher level of danger or risk. So now this new system does it for us. Additionally, information will be rapidly disseminated via voice calls, text messages, push notifications, desktop alerts, flashing strobe lights, and social media. So we're trying to use every possible thing we can on site to notify them that a situation is happening. What this Centegis does is got these strobe lights, and it actually flashes in all around the school, so you know when you see this flashing that it is a serious incident and for you to go into the Alice protocol. But in addition, we realize that we have to notify ourselves, the Dr. Gullett, our leadership team, and then eventually the community. So we're working hard to make sure that we push out, not just push out information, but accurate and timely information. It is so much easier if we send out the accurate information initially than trying to correct mistakes that we've made by prematurely sending out information that's not true. Okay, so our goal is to provide a comprehensive mass notification system that ensures quick, accurate communication during emergencies, reducing panic and helping to guide everyone to safety. So again, thank you for your support as we continue to prioritize the safety and well-being of our students and staff. Should you have any questions or need additional information, please do not hesitate to call us. Any questions?
Mr. McFadden, quickly, I know we talked briefly, and I'm blanking on the name of the program that the state started with your ability, and I know in connection with law enforcement, to train on-site staff. And is that program going well? I know you can't talk in detail about it, but is that program going well?
Yes, it is, and it's one of those programs called the Guardian Program, and it's utilized statewide in a variety of ways. And in Marion County, we here at this district uniquely put it together and put it in place that's unique for our district.
Good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, there are a lot of expenditures associated with keeping our schools, students, staff safe during these trying times. So without the referendum, we would have not been able to do some of these items. The total budget was $9.6 million, and they've spent about 21% of the budget to date. As Mr. McFadden mentioned, this covers the majority of the costs of the SROs, but it also covers those things like cameras and different accessories for our doors, radios, door buzzers, again, cameras as such. And it does include the cost of the stipend that is paid to the guardians. I'll take the next few minutes just to go through the charter schools. We now have to share these funds with the charter schools, and the process that was created is we looked at the number of students that they have to the total number of Marion County students to come up with what their allocation should be. So their total budget, $746,000. We provided what the law allows to them, and then they provided a budget back to us as to how they want to spend their dollars. And you can see that here, how the budget was set up for the charter schools. And the next slide, as of the end of December, we have allocated about $358,000 to the charter schools based on their allocation. And they have used it in the same categories that we have as a school district. And so you can see that their class size is about $73,000. and they've spent about 50%. That makes sense since we have allocated about half of that budget to them. The next category is physical education. Their budget is $182,000, and they've spent about 46% of that budget. The next category is art, a budget of $50,000, and they've spent about 49% of that budget. And music is the next category, $78,000, and they've spent about 50% of that budget. Another category, professional development, $149,000, and again, they've spent about 50% of that budget. We've allocated those funds to them just like we allocate their dollars for the regular FEFP as well. And then Safe Schools, $212,000, and they've spent about 46% of that budget.
When they submit their budget, do they break down similar to what you're sharing with us? What types of items they're spending? Like, is it personnel? Is it similar to a lot of the categories we have? It's, a majority of it is personnel, salaries, and benefits. Is that the type of thing that you're seeing as well?
That's what they budget. They told us what they budget on that, but we don't really see what their actual expenditures are until the end of the year. But they'll use it for this pretty much the same things that we are using it for. Say teachers or professional development, but they don't provide the specifics as to what professional development. But we have given them a criteria of what they have to follow.
Okay.
And they follow that. And they are audited at the end of the year like we are as well. So are there any other additional questions or comments?
I have a question. With regards to the safe schools, I noticed that it's like a 21%, 22%, whereas everything else is sort of in the 40, 45s or, averaging. Is it because it's different, because it's like spread out through a year, or are you holding back in an effort to budget, like to hold back some of those funds for the upcoming schools, or how does
Is that you're talking about the charter schools?
No. I'm sorry. I was going on to the next questions and comments.
For the district, it's 20% because that's all they've spent. They might have ordered cameras, they might have ordered other equipment.
Their spending is different.
But we haven't paid for it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr.
Okay.
Osley?
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Ms. Bosnellis. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I think we have laid out our dates for our meetings for this year, and trying to stick to a similar schedule, about once a quarter on a Thursday at 4. And I do not have those dates in front of me, but I know we have them somewhere. Yes.
Then July and October.
Were those dates sent out?
I don't think they have been sent out yet. Do you have those?
We have the dates set.
Yeah.
Yes.
You bring them to, that would be great. Let's go ahead and just kind of get those in the record.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Great. All right. So obviously we know about the January meeting. And then April 17th, July 17th, and October 16th. So those will go out in the minutes, but we'll send those out as well. Maybe even send them out as calendar invites. That way they actually land in our calendars appropriately. And so those are our meeting dates for the year. Are there any other matters for the board at this point? I put this in the agenda because after reviewing the bylaws, we are supposed to open up for public comment. So is there any public comment this afternoon? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to
Make
adjourn.
a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.